Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mad Pony Media, where reviewing gets nuts. And by that little bit, you could probably tell that yes, indeed, my channel has changed, hopefully for the better. The reason behind that being that after a while, I realized that the name I initially chose for this channel was, well, just basically to the point, dumb. Considering all it was just two names of characters from two different franchises thrown together and basically had no originality to it. So I decided to change things up, and this is what I came up with. Hope you guys enjoy it. Also, you could probably tell that I got a new setup here, trying something new out. I hope this works. I still don't have the best lighting setup, but we'll see how things go. And on the line of my channel having a change here, I will no longer be making any more reviews under the line Task Reviews. That set of videos has effectively been canceled. But enough on the channel's change, onto the video. Today I thought we'd take a look at this little guy. Now at first glance you may say, oh, that's just a 3DS XL, or a new 3DS XL, but you would be dead wrong. Because if we turn it around here, you can quite clearly see that there's a bunch of goodies back here, including some L&R buttons, a USB Type-C for charging, a mini HDMI out for HDMI input and whatnot, and a USB, not USB, well, there is a USB here, I'll get onto that in a bit, but I meant to say a micro SD card port, a full female USB 3.0 USB port, and a headphone jack. And if I turn it around over here, again, sorry for the pretty poor lighting, there is a speaker grill here. And another one over here. Again, poor lighting, I am sorry. And then there is a fan grill right here. As a result of that, you could probably tell that yes, there is a built-in fan. There's a little notch here that has 3 settings for the fan. Off, normal, and high. I have it set on normal here because I found that this thing gets hot way quicker when it's on the high setting. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But if we go down here, one, you can see that there's another speaker grill or a fan grill. I'm not quite sure which that is. It's either a speaker or a fan. Could be either. And you can see here that this does support Bluetooth. And as you can see right here, this is a GPD Win. The first model, to be precise, as I go and turn it on here, or not turn it on, but open it. As you can quite clearly see, 1, there's the GPD logo right there. 2, it's got a full Xbox controller built in, well, as close as the Xbox as you're going to get. And on top of that, as you can see here, the face buttons depict the icons of both Xbox and PlayStation. Sorry about that. Which is pretty cool. But down here you can see there is a full mini keyboard built in. I should point out that you don't really want to use this keyboard for any sort of gaming applications. It's just way too small for that. Connect one via USB or Bluetooth if you're going to do that. Although we'll find out in a bit that this thing really isn't powerful enough to push some of the higher end RPGs. You may be better off just using something else. But we'll go ahead and turn it on. Oh, that's right. I forgot to mention this. Here is a little switch here that depicts what these controls do. You got direct input, mouse, and Xbox. I have it set to mouse, but we'll go ahead and turn it on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take it off screen here so I can log in. Won't take that long. This thing does have a bit of a hum from the fan. It would be a little bit louder if I had it on max, but I currently have it on medium power, so. Also, this thing, I'll show you here, does have an Xbox button. I think you might be able to use this as a controller for the Xbox One. I sadly do not have an Xbox One, but I think you might be able to use it for that, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what this Xbox button is used for, but feel free to let me know in the comments below if you know exactly what that is for. Go ahead and log in. And wait for it. It's still loading. Come on. Come on. There we go. I can set this down for a sec here. I should point out that for this video, we're only going to be focusing, or I'm only going to be focusing on emulation. I will be showing off Steam capabilities with this thing, but that will be in another video. Also, that USB port, I forgot to mention, I have a specific use for it. This little thing right here. It's as you could tell, an SD card, micro SD card to USB adapter. The main reason behind me using this, opposed to just the one that's put in the port that's built in, is because for whatever reason, it's trying to focus on the item itself. For whatever reason, it doesn't like this high capacity card. I believe this is a 128 gigabyte card. This thing has an internal storage of about 32 gigs, roughly about the same as the black Wii U. The card that I have put in here, I believe, is also 32 gigs. It could be 64, one of the two, but this, I believe, is a 128 gig card. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't like loading the 128 gig card while it's plugged into the port that's built in. So that's why I have to do that. Let's get rid of that. I meant to do that before turning this on, but I forgot. But anyways, let's see. I currently have, as I stated, have it set to mouse input. When it's in mouse input, you move the right stick to move around the cursor, and then your L and R buttons are effectively your right and left click. You can also use this stick to scroll up and down if you're on like a web page or something. But both buttons on each side here do the same thing. Both buttons here are the right click, and both buttons here are your left click. The D-pad, although does have a central pivot, is still a little smushy, but there actually is a practical application for that, which I will get on in a bit. But anyways, as you can see here, I do have some emulators to test out. I'm only going to be focusing on 3 of them. The PlayStation and PSP ones I will not be showcasing for this video. I could show the PSP, but I just don't feel like it. And the PlayStation, I ran into an issue where even after the emulator's been closed out, it still plays the audio from the game. So I'm mainly going to focus on the other 3, starting with Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive. I should point out, due to the screen being a bit small, direct precise input can be a bit of a pain. Also, that reminds me, make sure you have the notch set to the correct one for if you're going to use these controls. I have all my emulators set to direct input. That also means you cannot use the touchscreen here. This is a touchscreen. I probably forgot to mention that, but this is also the second one I bought. The first one, I had an issue where it would, even if I'm touching, like, say, here, it would think I was touching here. And it reset itself and turned itself off a lot. Apparently, I found out sometime later that that was possibly caused by the previous person basically just playing and charging at the same time. I know there's a Model 2 and a Max model. I didn't get those for a couple different reasons, but yeah, basically, another thing, I will not be having, not the camera there, I will be playing this in a smaller screen because in order to have this be in full screen, you have to fiddle with the settings, and I'm not going to do that. But yeah, as I was stating before, the reason that I ended up buying 2 is because of that issue. And the main reason I wanted this in the first place is because I always wanted a, sorry for the bit of motion blur there, there's not much I can do about that. But I always wanted a little handheld device that could at least semi-competently emulate the GameCube or the PS2. But more on that in a bit later. But the reason this is not in full screen is you have to fiddle with the video settings of the emulator, and unlike the other emulators where you can't set it to full screen otherwise, as to not fiddle with the settings and have this drag on any further, I'm just going to play as is and just zoom in as much as possible. Preferably without messing around with, or accidentally hitting the camera. Which I seem to be doing a lot lately, but yeah, that's the reason behind that. This also ran me a good $300. The Model 2 is roughly around the $500 to $800 range, and the Max, I believe, is around $900 to $1,000 or so. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But the other reason I didn't go with at least the Model 2 is because the controls are swapped, and I don't really like that. With the Model 2, the face buttons and the analog stick and D-pad are on the opposite sides. And I feel that could be a bit problematic. I feel that that would just become a major hassle to the point where I try to press a face button, I end up hitting the analog stick by mistake. And I just don't want to deal with that. But yeah, that's the reason behind that. But yeah, the focus isn't that great. It's because of the bright backgrounds. They're messing with the autofocus. Sorry about that. Oof. What the? I don't care. We'll move on to the next emulator anyway. Just to have this go smoothly on. But you could tell the Genesis worked pretty well, but that's mainly due to the fact that it's an emulator and not that cheap AtGames thing I reviewed in my last series of videos. Again, the direct precise input is a bit of a pain. I'm only going to focus on, for the most part, one game per emulator. Here is the Game Boy Advance or GBA emulator, and here is a pretty good game, Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku 1 and 2. Mainly going to focus on Legacy of Goku 2 here. I should also point out that I have the L and R buttons to the X and Y on here, just to make it a little smoother. So that I point that out. You can tell the intro there, the audio is a bit choppy. Delete that old save. Also, I should point out, I will be skimming through a lot of this text, so if you want to read any of it, feel free to pause the video. So I'm just going to try and keep this moving along. Sorry about that. But yeah, pretty good game. In fact, I originally thought that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was effectively going to be a remake of these games, but although that isn't entirely incorrect, it's not exactly true either. It kind of is and kind of isn't. It's like 50-50. But yeah, as far as the D-pad goes, like I mentioned before, it is a bit smushy, but it does have a central pivot. But like I stated, there is a practical application to that, specifically with games like this, where it uses all 8 directions on the D-pad. It actually makes moving around a bit easier. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I have a feeling that this being a slightly smushier D-pad would make doing like moves in like Street Fighter a bit easier, but I don't know for sure. I've never really played Street Fighter. It's not really my kind of thing, but I feel that this would make doing like Hadoukens and those fireballs a little easier, but you know, your mileage may vary. That's just how I feel about it. But yeah, much like the Genesis Simulator, the sound is pretty much on par to the original. The same with the Genesis Simulator, it's pretty much on par with the original Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, and with this, it's pretty much on par with the Game Boy Advance. Although, let's be honest, it really isn't hard to emulate the Game Boy Advance at all. So it's not like that's really a huge accomplishment. Let's just be glad that AtGames never tried to make a handheld for Game Boy Advance, because they would have heavily screwed it up. I'm also going to mention that I'm only going to be playing until I get to the point where I can save and quit, because I don't want to focus too heavily on one particular emulator. I want to keep moving on. Last thing we want is for me to get cut off halfway through, just because I'm focusing too heavily on one particular subject. Because not only is that a massive headache for me, then it takes me that, and also is not only a massive headache for me, but it also takes me that much longer to upload a video for you guys. Also, I do apologize in advance if I do end up repeating myself. Well, he's getting wrecked, isn't he? Well, Gohan's dead. Oh no. Oh, I think he's mid. Is he mid? Is he? Yep, here it comes. Yeah, he's mid. Now he's a Superman. I mean, Super Saiyan. Damn it! Yep. In my past attempts to record this video, I initially would go through the dream sequence where you fight Frieza to get to level 2 to progress through the story, but I decided not to do that. I'm just going to go slightly beyond this point and then move on. Again, if you want to read any of this, feel free to pause the video. I should also point out that Whipfoot Technologies did really good on the sprite work here. Despite it being lower profile, they did really good on the textures and details. You can clearly tell, despite the smaller profile of the pixels and the character models, that they gave their all into making sure that even though it's a smaller image, that you can tell who it's supposed to be. So major kudos to Whipfoot for that. Also, I'm pretty sure this was their intention, but this math book here kind of looks like an old school Game Boy or Game Boy Color. Kind of neat. And again, this smushier D-pad, although some people may not like it, it really works for this game, I feel. And he falls asleep. Well, Gohan, you're never getting that scholarship you wanted. In fact, at this point, you might as well consider yourself fired. If you're going to continuously sleep on the job, yeah, you ain't going very far. And here it is. Here's the Capsule Corp pad where you can save your characters, save your progress, and eventually swap out characters. And even the next game of the franchise, Legacy of Goku 3, aka Boo's Fury. Well, they called it Dragon Ball Z Boo's Fury, but let's be honest, they should have called it Legacy of Goku 3 Boo's Fury. But that game also adapted this, where you can use this Capsule Corp pad to save your progress and swap characters. But that is enough for the Game Boy Advance emulator. Now let's move on to the main coup de grace of this video, GameCube. I should point out you're going to want to pre-configure the emulator for each game. Yeah. There's a new version. I don't care. Because that's only the only surefire way. Let me rephrase that. That's the only absolute way of making sure every single game plays as good as they can. That's not the case for the Wii part. The Wii part is just more of a crapshoot. It's really a give and a take. With the Wii emulation with this, you're either going to get a smooth gameplay but choppy audio, or the reverse of that. Choppy as hell audio, but smooth audio, but slow as gameplay. It's a double-edged sword with the Wii emulation, but the GameCube not so much. Although, like I stated, you are most likely going to want to fiddle with the settings of the emulator if things don't work as smoothly as a previous game does. Just, don't go all hog wild and fiddle with too many things. You may end up making the situation worse, but, change some settings around, see what works for you. Sadly, it's not as consistent as the other emulators, but this is more of a beefier thing, and this particular device isn't necessarily built for this exact application, but it happens to work. It's a lot cheaper method than either knowing how or finding out how to make one of those custom-built portables for the PS2, Wii, or GameCube, or paying someone that has made one to get one that way, because it'll be a lot higher price, I guarantee, than this thing costs. If I have enough time, I will showcase one Wii game, but we'll see what happens. Yes, I already have a save here, so... I'll only be showing one level in this game, by the way. But yeah, I have pre-configured the controls. Although the audio is a bit choppy, not bad. It's choppy in certain parts, but this is as smooth as you're going to get it. At least that's what I feel anyway. This is the smoothest I was able to get it anyway. Also, there's a glitch in this game where if you spin on the portal like this, it actually doesn't suck you down in until you let go, as long as you are close to the portal when you let go, like this. That also is the same for the other ports of this game, and even Gauntlet Legends. Even the Dreamcast version seems to have the same glitch. Don't know why, but it's not a game-breaking glitch by any means, but it's kind of funny. But yeah. Fun game. Personally, I think whoever currently owns the rights to this franchise should re-release this game on modern consoles, like the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. Also, on a side note, whoever currently is at Microsoft that are the head of making the names for the consoles seriously needs to get fired, because quite frankly, the names that Microsoft have been coming up for their consoles suck. Like, seriously. Xbox One. That's not too far off from what we used to call the original Xbox, and on top of that, the later releases have just been, added one letter to the name. Xbox One S, Xbox One X, and now we have the Xbox Series X. Like, seriously, when you get down to it, it's like the same name with just slight tweaks. Quite frankly, it's a bit pathetic. But yeah. But regardless, this game I think would do well on modern consoles. Will it happen? Most likely not, but it would be neat to see this game return on modern consoles with some online gameplay. And here is an item there, but I'll get rid of these Shrek-looking motherfuckers first before I get onto that. And there we go, got the item. Now, the way you actually, at least in the GameCube version of this game, the way you actually swap between your items is use the D-pad. Here, I'm just trying to select the hammer. Kill this guy a bit quicker. But yeah, you just use the D-pad to swap between the controls. Not with the PS2 version, that one you automatically use the items, but at least in this one, that's what you do. I believe it might be the same for the Xbox One, but I don't have the Xbox One. Alright, that's the... Never mind. Okay, that. But yeah. Yeah, as you can see, the menu there is over the pulsating purple turbo bar. You press up on the D-pad twice to get the menu to pop up, and then you press up again once you find the item you want. And pressing down the D-pad will make the menu disappear. If you want to turn the item off, just press up on the D-pad again, and it will turn off. If you want to, say, like, take off a certain item from your character. Again, that seems to only be the case for the GameCube and Xbox version. As you can see, there was a store there, but I didn't want to really focus too heavily on that. I only got so much time left. We'll go to save, because I do want to show one Wii game before the end of this video. And like I stated before, I will make a part 2 to this video. I'll try to get it done before Thanksgiving, but I make no promises. But I will make a part 2 to this video, showcasing Steam games. And if I miss any details in this part, I will hopefully, if I remember, touch upon them in the next part. But, yeah. But that is the GameCube half. Now, I think I have just enough time to showcase one Wii game. Again, all my controls have been pre-configured for this. Now, as I stated before, with the Wii emulation, it's a bit of a crapshoot. Depending on how you set it up, you're either going to get smooth gameplay but choppy audio, or clean, crisp audio, but slow-ass gameplay. There is literally no sweet spot, sadly. It's not as consistent, I feel, as some of the emulators or even the GameCube have. Well, with the GameCube, I guess not. With that, you basically had to configure, like, each game's configurations for the emulator individually, where this is just a matter of having a risk versus reward scenario. Sorry about harping on that too much. But yeah. I have just enough time to do one match in this. Let's get this moving along. Yeah, as you can tell, the audio in the intro is a bit screwy. It's pretty bad, but the rest of the gameplay, from the way I have it set up, is pretty fine. Like I said, the audio is a bit choppy at times, but the gameplay is smooth for the most part. Here, let me turn this down to smidge. We'll go to standard duel. Do a 1 versus 1. Do my man Trunks, Super Saiyan. I have no customs, so I'll just stick with default. And we'll face off against Goku, Super Saiyan. Sure. Yeah. We'll get this done, and then that'll be it for this part of the video. Sorry. Get rid of that. Make sure it's on the emulator.
I'm through playing around. Let's go. You'll have to work hard to beat me. See if you can take this.
Get back here, Goku. You ain't going nowhere. Dang, I'm actually kicking his ass. Aha! Gotcha! Goku? More like go no. I'm sorry, that was horrible. Woohoo! Beat him! With time to spare, in fact. Yes, you will, Trunks. At least until Goku Black shows up, and then you're pretty much screwed. But yeah, that is the Wii emulation. As you can see, depending on how you set it up, it can either be a blessing or a curse. But yeah, let's get rid of that there. That will be the end for this half of the review. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. This has been Mad Pony Media. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. Leave a comment. Let me know if there's anything, any further things I can improve upon, like, well, maybe the lighting or something I definitely need to improve upon, but like and subscribe, leave a comment, and I will talk to you guys later. See ya!